Hello and welcome to some Reddit Dota 2 League action. This is Game 3 of the Round 2 playoff series between Deleted and Ironwood Branches. Game 3 all on the line right here. Comes down to this one game. I was going to talk about the seeming Lifestealer curse, but I've also been having a broadcasting curse, not being able to get through this damn replay. But we're gonna do it this time. I don't care what happens. We're making it through. Nyx, banned. Boom. First one, gone. You're out. Nothing. Alright, Lone Druid, you're gone as well. Not making it through. Pretty normal. We saw him earlier, not gonna see him this time. Are we gonna see... What are we gonna see? We've seen Batrider make it through and been banned. We've been seeing Mag banned repeatedly. Are they gonna stick to it? Or are they going to ban something different? Let's see. Waiting on Ironwood Branches to make that call. So just going to have to wait on that and hope for the best. Closing in on that time, and Magnus is the ban. And just for posterity's sake, I'm going to check my volume, and we're all good. Don't want to waste my time because it would be just my luck for that not to be working. Batrider, the final ban. Nyx, Mag, Lone Druid, Batrider, no surprises. Are we going to see the Lifestealer? Are they going to be so bold? Or are they going to go something different, such as a Wisp? You know, Darkseer's still around. A lot of options. What are we going to do? It is Lifestealer. They're calling the bluff. They're saying, we're going to win with this guy, hell or high water. He's 0-2 this series. But we're bringing it back around. Shadow Demon in response. Demonic Purge going right through that rage, right through Magic Immunity. Disruption strong at all parts of, all phases of the game. Early game set up, follow-up stuns. A follow-up stun happens to be Ice Path. Now, it isn't nearly as popular as, say, Light Strike Array or Leshrax's Split Earth, because at level 1, the duration and the damage are both are significantly less on Ice Path. I mean, the strength is when it gets higher up in levels, is that it's a much larger area. You can catch everyone in an Ice Path, stun them for multiple seconds, do a bit of damage. But in terms of early game potential for ganks and bursting a hero down, not nearly as potent. Ironwood Branch is going to come back, hit him back with the Rubik. Very strong, gonna be able to steal that macro pyre, so should he so desire. Shadow Demon, not the usual target for that spell steal, though he obviously, being a strong support, has some very useful stuff. You tend to focus in more on the spells that are big game changers. Very tough to get a clutch disruption in a team fight if that's what you're prioritizing as Rubik. So it doesn't come up quite as much, but when they're just roaming around the map, being able to pick something up like a disruption can be very useful. Ogre Magi out of Ironwood Branches. And then Famlancer out of Deleted. We saw this in Game 1 from Deleted. They rode it all the way to victory as they 4-man squatted with Gyro leading the way, and Famlancer just farming up the entire time, becoming an unstoppable monster to finish out the game, carrying a lead to victory. Now, Ogre Magi, I'd have to look, but I'm under the impression that Bloodlust will be dispelled by Rage. So I'm not sure about the synergy there between Ogre Magi and Lifestealer, but hey, I could have that completely wrong, and it could be a great idea. Not quite sure offhand what's going to go on there. Ogre Magi, we've been seeing a disproportionate amount of Ogre Magi in this league in comparison to pro picks. Once in a while you see him picked up in a pro game, but he's been a relatively common support in the Reddit Dota 2 league. He's tanky, has a pretty solid stun if you can get up the levels, of course, multicast. Can't make a big difference if the RNG gods are on your side. But also, for a support, pretty tanky, and that can be a nice little benefit. Of course, a big downside, not range. So getting in additional right-click damage early on not going to be the easiest thing. If we're looking at the bans, we're seeing both sides banning out mid-heroes. Storm Spirit and Warlock banned by deleted. Queen of Pain and Beastmaster from Ironwood Branches being removed from the pool. We actually have seen deleted run the Ogre Magi as well. So both sides familiar with that hero. Final ban out coming from Ironwood Branches are going to continue to follow that mid ban as both sides are in need of one. So I'm wondering if we're going to see something weird in mid, because both sides are banning mids, and there's only so many to go around. To be fair, there are a lot of heroes that you can run mid. It's much more flexible than, say, the off lane, where you're way more limited if you want to go a defensive tri-lane solo off lane, or it's not nearly as flexible. Gyrocopter banned out, not going to be able to see him partnered up with the Famlancer, and then Darkseer to close out the ban phase. Now, something interesting out of Delete is we did not see the combo that was still available to them, at least in part, of what they went game one, where actually entirely they went Bane, Keeper of the Light, Phantom Lancer. Bane and Keeper of the Light were both available, but they opt to go for Shadow Demon, Jakiro, and then the Phantom Lancer. That's an interesting switch up considering that they were successful in game one. Puck selected. That is their mid choice out of Ironwood Branches. What's going to be the selection from Deleted? We still have Templar Assassin in the pool, a prominent pick still available. We could also see something different like a Brewmaster to have mid-game presence, so that would be kind of a weird combination with Phantom Lancer. You usually want to have a bit more mid-game presence with the Brewmaster, as he does tend to taper off as the game goes on. Silencer the pick, though. All right, then. Now, something that I should have looked up but haven't is the interaction between Last Word and Phase Shift. I'm not actually sure if you can Phase Shift out of that Last Word damage. Perhaps you'll be able to pick it up in the game as it goes along. Waiting on these final picks, we're going to need to see a off-laner out of Ironwood Branches, or at least a solo laner. Ironwood Branches has the potential to go an aggressive tri-lane. Rubik, Ogre, Magi have the lockdown, along with when you add in the open wounds out of Lifestealer, you do have the aggressive potential. You always have that aggressive potential with Lifestealer. A bit difficult with the Shadow Demon, as well as Jakiro can be frustrating to try and attack into. However, using Rage can go right through that ice path. So, Deleted does have a pretty solid defensive posture, but Ironwood Branches still does have the potential to go aggressive against that. And this last pick will be Clockwork. So that indicates that it's, I'd say, more likely that they're going to go traditional, laid-back, defensive tri-lane, throw the Clockwork in the off-lane, but they are flexible. They can still put that in a solo 1v1 lane. Just not necessarily typically the choice that you're going to go for if that's what you want to do. Deleted. Waiting on them to close out this
10 seconds remaining.
This draft phase. They're in the same position that Ironwood Branches were as well, and Treant Protector. We saw him as well, so we're seeing Phantom Lancer and Treant both show up once again. Repeats from game one. We saw Treant in the off lane handled by BB. We'll see if that is the case. However, who's going to be playing the Phantom Lancer? Last time we saw Hrathgar handle that, well, Kubera, aka Chinese Guy, took on the Gyrocopter and went mid. However, in this case, the different heroes mix that up quite a bit. So far, it indicates that Webb is going on the Silencer, and that's who we are expecting to be headed mid, which could change up the roles. We'll have to see if they switch. They actually did switch out in game one. We saw Chinese guys start off on Phantom Lancer, then switch out for the Gyro once we got into the game. So have to keep an eye on that. But I feel like We're once again going to have defensive lanes. Not a whole lot of early aggressive potential for pickoffs. I feel like both sides will be relatively safe. However, we will want to keep an eye on the silencer. I think he's the most vulnerable on the field. The roaming potential is there out of Ironwood Branches. Silencer, no escape. So if those supports do rotate, which they would be relatively okay doing, their Phantom Lancer is going to be able to farm 1v1. He'll do all right, even if he would like a little more space, and be able to allow these supports to move around the map. If they choose to do so, could be trouble if Deleted does not pick up on it. But let's announce our players. It does look like Webb is going to be sticking to that silencer and will be headed out towards mid most likely, as he has been pooled some tangos. On the Jakiro, headed up towards top, is Hrathgar. He's taken up the support role this game. He'll be joined with his support buddy Chib on the Shadow Demon. It will be Kubera, a.k.a. Chinese guy on the Phantom Lancer, carrying it up. And then in the off lane, we have BB on the Treant Protector. Switching out for the Radiant, we see right here, that's the Lifestealer, Lucky Bear, the stand-in, going to be handling that for Ironwood Branches. In mid, it will be Bubba Chuck on Puck. I like the rhyming. Go poetry. We do actually have an aggressive tri-lane, an interesting one with Hobo on, or Hebo. So I had avoided that in the first two games. Hebo on the clock in the aggressive tri-lane, along with Crit Whale on the Rubik and Oh Joy on the Ogre Magi. So this is where we're going to have a lot of our focus. However, I don't feel like there's necessarily a whole lot of opportunity to burst down. I mean, there's a lot of lockdown, but Clock is melee, Ogre's melee. Are they going to be able to burst one of them down? Maybe, if they land the stun, the cogs, the telekinesis. But I feel like you need level 2, but a lot of damage going out. Awkward positioning. Maybe they can get it very early. Down to 5 HP. Digging into the trees. And cogs level 1. There's no rocket to finish him off. And he's staying out of vision, salving up. And Phantom Lancer just barely avoids first blood. 5 HP. That's RNG for you. Their attack rate clock is pretty consistent. Does anyone have a range of more than 5? Yes. Ogre Magi. If Ogre Magi got one auto attack in there, and as well as Rubik, 45 to 55. So one auto attack, the RNG could have been the difference between first blood and not already in this game. We don't have the bear, but we do have the RNG rolling the dice. And it saves Phantom Lancer that time around. 5 HP in mid. Going to be seeing, as mentioned, the Puck up against this silencer. So far, Puck getting the better of the exchange 5-2 early on. 2 minutes in. And Puck's still going to need to just barely get to his bottle in just a few seconds. Up top, we're seeing a lot of harass out on this Treant Protector, who, all things considered, should be able to handle himself 1v1 versus his Lifestealer, at least early on. Again, the ridiculous base damage. He's level 3 and he's got 93 damage. By comparison, we have Silencer, who's level 4, has 2 Mantles of Intelligence and a Branch, is at 64 damage. But let's keep an eye up on top. Phantom Lancer keeping up all right. 10 CS up against the 14 of Lifestealer. So far, Lifestealer getting the better of the two. But, I mean, in some ways to be expected, Tri-Lane versus Tri-Lane going to be a little more difficult than the 1v1. However, he's up against a tree, so not only doing well, but being on top of the board. Gotta be happy with that. Quelling Blade on the Lifestealer as well. So he'll be doing just fine. No regen left on the Phantom Lancer, but we do have a decent amount on the supports left over. Salve and Tangos. should they so be needed. There is a ward out here blocking the camp from the Radiant, so after this pull, that's it for the creeps until they de-ward or that expires. A rotation around from the Rubik. Gonna see if he can pick off a couple creeps. And he does so. Gets that jungle creep and a lane creep with that Fade Bolt. That's a nice little pick off. Not only for the gold, but the experience as well. Any creeps that die to neutrals do give 0 experience. It's not even denied. A disruption, but there's no follow-up here. Just going to back off. Oh, wound up for the ice path, but decides not to waste his time. Puck retreating up. A little back and forth here, but Puck activates the haste rune. There's the orb up. A couple right clicks. Is he going to continue to chase this? He does. Bottling up. More right clicks. Cool down on the orb. 2, 1. Can the orb finish him off? No, the orb misses. One more right click. 21 damage. He goes down. First blood goes to Bubba Chuck on the Puck. Probably should be able to get that with the illusory orb, but the juke out of the silencer delays it just a tiny bit, but it's not enough. Final right click brings him down. First blood. Thanks to that haste rune goes to the Puck. And Ironwood Branches off to a nice start. They've got the Life Stealer up on top of the CS board. We've got Puck jumping into the top of the net worth. No, it's still the Life Stealer, but getting that first blood. But disruption, follow up ice path. Soul Catcher on top of a dual breath. Right clicks, and that's it for the Rubik. However, did I miss the Rubik actually did go down as well during that. We've got 2 kills. I'm trying to calculate who did I miss. Treant went down bottom at the same time. Okay. Treant went down. Alas. 2 out of 3. Cog's a little harassed there, but not accomplishing a whole lot. Drains some mana, though. Without any mana, that's going to be very difficult for, well, actually impossible to doppelwalk without the mana. That's his escape. He does, however, have the support of his friendly tree and global living armor all the way up top. There was a couple patches ago to living armor that makes it, instead of, in terms of how it removes charges and instances. Oh, double ice path. The cogs push back. Was that a global silence I heard? It was.
Middle is missing.
That ended up not accomplishing anything, unfortunately. It looked like something was going to happen. Out came the silence, and everybody ran back. As the cogs didn't trap anyone, it basically acted as a wall barrier, separating the two sides in peace and harmony. Jakiro in a bit of an awkward spot, but turns around, and no harm, no foul. If Rubik were in position, it could have potentially been some trouble. I mean, in this lane, it seems as though Radiant could be putting on a bit more pressure. These heroes that they have up here are not entirely farm dependent. They're not looking to use these as a carry. They're relying on the Life Stealer to be the DPS, the Puck to get the team fight initiation. Up here, this tri-lane's goal is to shut down the Phantom Lancer. So far, that's only kind of happening. He's still 33 CS here. Oh, there's the Puck moving in. The ult blocks him in, illusory orb and cogs, and that's a dead Phantom Lancer. With the gank up top from the Puck, well worth it, and that helps shut him down, certainly. Silencer rotating around, no boots on him. Still going to have to get that off the courier. Turns right back around and not going to be having any of that. Wandering around at 300 movement speed. Not going to be particularly effective in ganking. Back to our little 3v3 up top. As I was saying, these heroes, you can afford to focus more on harass as opposed to trying to get your own farm. If you can basically trade off so your side doesn't get much farm and their side doesn't, that's a win because your farming heroes are elsewhere. You've got a Lifestealer crushing a Treant Protector bottom. And that's what you were relying on happening. You're not relying on the clock necessarily having a whole lot of farm. He's not normally run with a whole lot of farm. And then you have your 2 supports up here. Again, of course, you know, as much gold as you can get. Always good. Puck peeks up, turns around. Not a whole lot of vision on the map right now. We have 1 ward out of the Dire here. Just spotting out the rune and giving a bit of vision around this Radiant jungle. But we have 4 up top. Puck moving in. Will he be the one to initiate? There is mana on the Phantom Lancer. He doppelwalks. The illusory orb goes over top of him, but there's no vision right now. Global Silence comes out as well. Now the reinitiation. Dust comes out at a bit of a weird time, and this is an awkward runaround fight. And now the Clockwork's in an awkward position. Looks like he's going to go down. Last word should finish him off, and it does. And we lose the Rubik at the same time. Didn't spot exactly where he went down. A lot of running around, but the Ogre Magi now in an awkward spot. And that's almost certainly a kill. Curse of the Silent. If that doesn't finish him off, that right click will. Phantom Lancer gets the last hit on the Ogre Magi. There it's now 4-3. A 3-for-0 turnaround after being down 3-1. And an unfortunate movement. 4 came up top. And only 1 left. Disruption on the clock. Just being a bit annoying. No follow-up there. A lot of damage actually happening to him between the creeps, the illusions, and a Spirit Lance coming out from this Phantom Lancer. Oddly, the Lifestealer is somewhat rotated into the jungle. But 66 CS way ahead, and now back into lane. And this is 69-28 in this lane. Now going on the Treant, who's level 8 versus level 10. Living Armor. As I was mentioning before, we got interrupted by a lot of action. Living Armor now working basically like Refraction on Templar Assassin, where each hit just negates the damage that you would have done to him, as opposed to negating some of the damage, which is how it used to work. So that becomes a lot more effective and has increased the viability of Treant Protector quite a bit, as it's more reasonable to select him for his early game presence, as before it didn't have a whole lot of early game presence and then had almost no late game. But now we're back into our lane positions where not a whole lot's going on. We saw a bit of a rotation out of Silencer, but wasn't able to find anything, as he wasn't able to find anything that he could have used his nice little double damage rune on. We've got Clock headed back toward base to heal up, get some mana. And it seems to be, so far, who can... mid's pretty even. Right now we got 30-30 basically in farm. The Puck got a kill, but he also... he's also had a lot more rotation, so he's lost a bit more in terms of experience. As we see, the net worth a little head for the Puck, pretty even. So it's been a matter of whose carry is winning their lane more. And right now, that's Lifestealer. The question is that going to be enough? Can they make use of it before the Phantom Lancer spirals out of control? Phantom Lancer doesn't need to crush early game. He just needs to do well enough, and the rest of the team survive until he can start to really snowball in the mid-game and use that to carry him late. But there's a disruption follow-up, Ice Path, Dual Breath, the lift, but not enough. Global Silence now. Looking to get some extra kills, turn this around is the Radiant, and they do get a big kill on the Phantom Lancer. The Global Silence not enough to let him get away. And that's 1 for 1. 5-4 the score now. Silencer rotating up. He has an Invis rune. A little low on mana, but still has enough for the combo. Last word in Curse of the Silent. Actually, Max Curse of the Silent, which is a bit unusual. But the Ice Path now, Jakiro, a lift up. Ice Path lift and right clicks out of Silencer, along with Curse of the Silent, more than enough to bring down the Ogre Magi. That's an extra kill on the board for deleted. Fam Lancer now farming up the now vacant mid for the time being. Tree has managed to get up his arcane boots, getting a bracer, a couple branches, so going to be getting a wand and then maybe move into drums. Puck retreating from the Phantom Lancer. Illusions after taking a bit of harass. We have a rotation in from Ogre Magi and starting to see some action here in mid. A lot of movement.
Bad dude's top tower gonna fall over soon.
Again, the story continues to be Lifestealer well on top, 6,800 to 4,100 the lead. Like, that's one solid mid-game item. He's closing in on 3,000 gold. I mean, he's basically an armlet ahead right now, and that's a big difference. If they team fight right now, what can Deleted really do against that? I mean, Phantom Lancer has certainly got okay-ish, like, good farm comparatively to everybody else except the Lifestealer. He has drums, tranquils, but that's not enough. He wants to get up the diffusal, and then preferably he wants to move into another item before he really has the big effectiveness, but at least the diffusal in order to be able to fight. Otherwise, he's basically walking around tossing out Spirit Lances, and that's his contribution. Ogre Magi soaking up some nice experience here in mid, able to get up his ult for that pure skill. Up top, we have the Infest Bomb, looking for the illusory orb to come off cooldown and re-engage. Oh, there's a Dream Coil. There's the burst. Trying to burst him down now. One more hit out of the Lifestealer. No. And he's able to get away. The living armor. And now the Curse of the Silent coming out as well. Diving a long way is this Lifestealer, but who's going to stop him? Phantom Lancer tries to turn it around, but was that a good idea? Able to retreat back into the tree, so that's all right. Now Lifestealer trying to turn around and go on the Treant Protector. He's 1v2 now, man-moding this up. During this whole time, behind the action, the Puck and the Rubik going down. Now the Lifestealer over by the trees getting focused down. And what could have been a big pick-off.
Bad dudes, middle tower, everyone, go!
Just go in, get the Phantom Lancer, get out. Ends up being a poor trade, including losing the Lifestealer, which is going to really hurt. They had that big lead that they could have tried to snowball off of, and they give a bit of it back. Deleted, turning that right around, and that's what they really need to secure their position. They had the kill lead, but they were letting Lifestealer get perhaps a little bit out of hand. If we actually take a look at the graph, we see that it was getting a bit out of hand, headed toward the Radiant, and then comes crashing back down after that fight. And now it's all evened up. Anyone's ball game. But the thing to remember, though, is that when you have a situation where it's even up, the longer it stays even, the better it is for Deleted and the Phantom Lancer. But the burst, the infest, the illusory orb, and Jakiro cannot stand against that. Jakiro level 6, level 13 on the Lifestealer. Turn that around. He has gone for the old school carry build treads. Midas armlet, but here we go. The initiation out of Hebo on the clockwork. Dream Coil on 2. Initiation silence as well. Hits both. Now trying to get as many kills as possible. Now the Lifestealer going on. The Silencer can close the distance. No. And looks like the Silencer is going to be able to get away. But that's 3 for 0 in favor of Ironwood Branches, and they take a fight right back. Not going to take this lying down. the strength was still there on the Lifestealer, and he does the damage that he needed. Phantom Lancer still not at that to get 2 Blades of Alacrity right now, but he would still need the recipe and the robe to finish that up. So he's still a bit off of that. Got a couple supports hanging out here in the woods surrounding the tier 1. Not sure what the plan is there. Jakiro just going to hang for now. Lifestealer back toward the bottom lane. Going to be picking up some more farm. If we're going... I was going to say if we're going truly old school, we'd be seeing a Desolator next. But no, going for the Basher actually gets the recipe first. Interesting not getting the Javelin. Perhaps he bought that during the battle just in case he died. To avoid losing that unreliable gold. But now we have some rotation out of these supports. Curse of the Silent trying to do a little harass. Now to turn around. Oh, what a hook out of Hemo! Initiation going to turn this attempted gag right around. Now there's 2 under the tower though. But we have the 2 supports and a Treant. Is that really enough to go up against the clock and the Lifestealer? Even underneath the tower, the clock gets initiated on. Cog on 2. The Infest does a ton of damage. Now trying to go on the 2 supports. The Cog's blocking him out though when he decides to turn around. Doesn't know where the Phantom Lancer is for helping that out. Plays it safe. But if he actually played that out a bit more aggressively, I actually think that Lifestealer could have had at least 1, probably 2 more kills right there. Instead, 1 for 1 the trade Clockwork for the Silencer, and it ends out okay. Probably a slightly better trade for Ironwood Branches. And Lifestealer heads back into the jungle, and the Clockwork initiation was the big deal. If that hook misses, if that hook hits the creep or the Lifestealer in front, they back off under the tower. Maybe they still get a kill, but that could have been much worse. Now a lot of action going up top. Ice Path hits 2. Dream Coil is on the Silencer, but no, the Ogre Magi down. Puck gets targeted down as well. And now the Ice Path, they may get Rubik as well. A bit of a weird disruption there, but that does ensure the kill, even if it does mean taking a few more tower hits. They dedicate the Macro Pyre as well, making absolutely certain that they get that kill. Why not? Relatively short cooldown on that Macro Pyre. And now this could be this tier 1 top, the first tower to go down in this game. Treant hiding in the trees. Ironwood Branches could be looking for a trade bottom. But I'm not sure they're going to be able to get it. This tower is just about dead in a second. They'll be able to TP bottom to defend if they have TPs. The Shadow Demon does. Actually, the Jakiro's a bit too low, and looks like they will be able to trade 1 for 1. Nobody gets the last hit there, so more overall gold for the Radiant, but no burst to the Lifestealer's gold quite as much as it could have been with the last hit. And now perhaps we'll see a rotation towards mid as the creep wave's already pushed up. The tower's very low. Glyph is down. So this could be an easy tier. Another tier 1. I heard the hook. But it doesn't look like a hit. Doesn't matter. Open wounds. Just go and focus them down. Living armor delays the inevitable just a tiny bit. Interesting cog out. Phantom Lancer split pushing it a little bit. But we check out the net worth. Still the lead on the Lifestealer, but it's not really increasing. We saw the same, about the same proportion of 3,000, 8 minutes ago. So it's holding steady in that regard. A lot of trades around the map, 14 to 12 in terms of deleted. It stayed pretty even in that regard. If we check out the graph, as we see, up and down, and trending just a little bit in towards the Radiant, but absolutely anyone's game at this point. The worry, though, is that we have Lifestealer as the primary carry. and he's not going to be able to stand up against the Phantom Lancer late game. There isn't really anything to bring him down late in any semblance of a close team fight. Dream Coil with the cogs on 3. And there's 3 instantly down. The Tree Amp Protector looks like he'll go down 4 for 0. And that's what you do not want to see as the Phantom Lancer in the bottom lane split pushing, is seeing your team try and take a 4v5 team fight and give away everyone. Especially when you're nowhere near a tower. Tier 1 was already down. Could have waited that out to Tier 2, potentially. But caught with the initiation, the Dream Coil, the cogs. And that's a lot of team fight. And a lot going down, and they're not going to stop. Why should they? Do a bit of damage to this Tier 3. Not just a bit, quite a lot. That's a third of it down. Go try and initiate on the Jakiro, the bash, and down. Jakiro dead. Gonna try and turn this around on the Silencer, by 4 staffs away. Gonna get a couple pot shots along with that last. We're gonna do a lot of damage. Gonna try and chase this out. No. The Phantom Lancer actually gets a kill. Didn't see which hero he got. Ogre Magi finishing him off, and now finishes off the Clockwork as well with the return of that Phantom Lancer. As mentioned, the Diffusal Blade is when he can actually start to really fight. Good. Continue to chase out on the Lifestealer. This could be it. Infest is off cooldown, but the silence prevents him from getting in the creep. Can he finish him off before it runs out? He can. And the Lifestealer goes down as well. And that gets turned around after a 4 for 0. Deleted, comes right back, holds off the Tier 3 push, takes several heroes in the counterattack. Gonna get the Tier 1, potentially Tier 2 with the Lifestealer still down. And the Phantom Lancer ready and willing to fight. 2,400 gold on him. Have to see if he ends up going for the ultimate orb to head in towards finishing that Manta, or if he saves up for the Reaver to head into Heart before finishing the Manta, and just going for the casual Yasha for the time being. Tier 2, under siege. Are they able to hold it, or are they just going to give it up? So far, it's just poking and prodding, not initiating. Puck, orbs in, but the nice split out of deleted to avoid the potential for initiation with that Dream Coil. And Ironwood Branches staying safe, staying scared by their Tier 3, not willing to move out, not without that Lifestealer damage. And it looks like this Tier 2 will go down. The hero's backing off in a weird fashion. Just a few hits left, and there we go. Phantom Lancer even gets the last hit. He's 40 gold away from a Reaver. Go for that Reaver, Phantom Lancer. Go for that Reaver. He's got enough now with that last hit. A bit of damage out on the Tier 2 top, as well as the Jakiro of all heroes was split pushing that during the fight. Well, not fight, the siege. There ended up being no initiation from either side. And after all of that, 18-17 again, the score stands steady. But the big difference now, dead even in the net worth, only about 600 difference between the Lifestealer and the Phantom Lancer. Lifestealer up top trying to initiate on the Silencer and the Jakiro. The Ice Path Rage turns it around. Dual Breath just to poke. Not able to do anything. Phantom Lancer not going to bother trying to chase that down. We do have other heroes around, so if we do end up having some action, smoke up, in fact. 3 smoked. Just go hide out behind the action. Now Clockwork trying to move in. As well, the smoke has been dispelled. The Infest into Puck. There's the Illusory Orb. There's the Dream Coil out, and well as dust, and they're going to go on the Phantom Lancer. He's just about dead. The bash. One more hit. One more hit. They get him. And now the team fight is really going to be in trouble. The initiation to get a whole lot of damage down. But now the turnaround, the team fight, ultis. And that goes 4 for 1. They get everyone 5 for 1. That gets turned around in a huge way. The Overgrowth being a big difference maker there, as well as the Curse, as well as the Global Silence spent, and Macropyre. And all of that, it looks so good out of Ironwood Branches, focusing down that Phantom Lancer very quick. However, the Dream Coil was only on the Phantom Lancer. Let the rest of Ironwood Branches run wild. I wasn't sure if the damage was there, but it was between all that they had. And this is going to turn into a tier 2 for Deleted. Sorry, I mixed them up. I didn't know if Deleted had the damage to finish off Ironwood Branches in that fight and turn that around.
Top is missing.
And I feel like this is where Ironwood Branches needs to make something happen. They tried with the smoke. It didn't work. Next step is to get a pick off and get Roche. Because right now, as I mentioned, if the game's staying steady, it's going to favor Deleted with the Phantom Lancer, better carry potential. And as we see here, there's even a bit of a lead going the way of Deleted. 4,000 gold, 5,000 experience, and that's not a position that Ironwood Branches really wants to fight in. However, again, we're getting to the point where both sides can take down a quick enough Roche for it to be worthwhile. And we're seeing a lot of team fight and team movement. Right now, I don't believe that Ironwood Branches has vision of the Roche pit. We have a lot of movement around, out of Deleted around this area. And they look to have the same idea. And this is where I feel, again, this is what Ironwood Branches really wants to focus on right now if they want to keep this from spiraling out of their hands. But for the time being, they're getting their farm. Deleted wasted a bit of time just posturing around this Roche pit, perhaps thinking along the same lines as I was. A silence, but they hasted Phantom Lancer going to get away, and nothing comes of that. And suddenly the hasted Phantom Lancer with the double damage is just going to get a tier 2 bottom. Alright. That was interesting. Phantom Lancer runs into 5. As he's trying to go on the Rubik, this is problematic. He's all on his own, deep in enemy territory. He does get the Rubik. And we had the global size turned out, but the Phantom Lancer is going to be taking out the whole team by himself. And now the support is actually coming in. Triple kill out of the Phantom Lancer. How did that happen? Disarray out of Ironwood Branches. And just masterful pickoffs from Mr. Chinese Guy. And suddenly Rax going to be the next target. Buyback out of Puck. We have the Life Stealer. We have Puck. Will it be enough? Open wounds, but they're not going to be able to go on it. After the Ice Path, the Life Stealer rages, just focuses down on the Shadow Demon. The Phantom Lancer's ready to go. He's got Manta. Gets the Rubik almost immediately. Now the last word. The Ogre Magi down. They don't need to kill the Life Stealer. If they can kill everyone else without any losses, there's just nothing he can do. But the Silencer goes down to the tower shots. The Cog in, but not enough. The tower shot's still trying to hit. But the Living Armor helping him out there. The Rage, the open wounds, but the Purge removes the open wounds debuff. And he gets away. The Dust always on this Puck on top of things, but the Life Stealer, he's not following it up. Puck's gonna go down. Now he's gonna try and go on him, but how long does the Dust have left? Is he gonna be able to man fight this? He's just gonna turn this around. He's gonna have to try and retreat. Infest is off cooldown. Rage is on cooldown. Can they get one more hit? No mana on the Phantom Lancer. Gonna go on the Rubik instead. Now going to try and turn this around. The Life Stealer, the bash. But they don't have vision. Back and forth, and somehow Life Stealer and Phantom Lancer continually staying afloat. Neither going down. And through all of that, Rax still up for Ironwood Branches. This is not over, but it is getting scary.
Regeneration.
We saw all that damage coming out of Phantom Lance. It's a whole lot of trouble for Ironwood Branches just dealing with him and bringing him down, and that was with Diffusal Manta. Now he's going to have Heart. So how are they going to figure out how to bring it down? I think it's going to have to be the way that Deleted has been fighting against them. Turn their tactics against them. Take down all those supports systematically. Isolate the Phantom Lancer once you have the numbers advantage. But they're going to be going for Roche. They're going to be getting the Roche. So this is going to be, instead of a Diffusal Manta Drums Phantom Lancer, it's going to be Diffusal Manta Drums Heart Aegis Phantom Lancer. And I'm not sure if Ironwood Branches is going to be able to pull this one out of the bag. But we're going to have to wait and see. We've seen some just incredible turnarounds in this game. Can we see it once again? The score right now, 10,000, 14,000. Going to have to step it up. Big initiations. Dream Coil on everyone. Infest damage as well. Really want to see a big steal from the Rubik. That's why I feel like I haven't seen, maybe I've missed it, but I haven't seen something that has been game-changing. You know, can you get, for example, that Overgrowth, or with the Dream Coil, steal the Macro Pyre on top of it? If you actually look at what Jakiro is going to be using most often, it's going to be that Ice Path. Steal that Ice Path up front. There it is. Oh, no, he actually ended up getting off that Dual Breath. But if you can get that Ice Path, it would be initial stun. And once the Spell Steal comes off cooldown, if he's just holding on to that Ice Path, it could be a lot. But no, it's a man fight. 1v4 as he gets caught going on his own. Phantom Lancer going to respawn. Is this going to be the initiation? Out of Deleted it is. Ice Path, Macro Pyre on top of it. Doesn't really hit anyone. The cogs working against Ironwood Branches in this case. Lifestealer not able to get in and do the final damage to finish him off. Lifestealer down trying to go after the sports. Well, in the meantime, Rubik and Puck and Ogre Magi all going down, and suddenly Lifestealer's all on his own. What is he going to do? No mana for Infest. It's on cooldown anyway. And that's the full team wipe. 1 for 5. Buyback out of Lifestealer. Tier 3 is down. The bottom racks is going to go down from the Phantom Lancer in just one more hit. He's not going to be able to save that. He's just going to have to go for the tier for the racks in mid. Going on the supports, will Phantom Lancer be able to get there and save them in time? The Yules, he Yules himself up, and Lifestealer gets disinterested. Is he going to even be able to get him now? The open wounds, one more hit. No, the living armor, not enough to save him. And now the Treant Protector backs out, but it's a man fight time going on. The Phantom Lancer doing a lot of damage, but as the illusions build up, it begins to be too much. No mana left on the Lifestealer. He's going to be able to get away. It looks like there's the Leech Seed going to try and turn it around on the Treant Protector, but now all these supports are respawning on the side of Ironwood Branches, but doesn't matter. The racks are going down. That's 2 sets down against the Phantom Lancer. Can they actually have any hope of turning this around now? Even if they take this fight in their own base, if they can barely hold on, how do they turn this around? What can they do? They say they can't. Bubba chucks the puck, calls GG. Well played. Deleted. Pulls it out. Down a little bit early. 1-1 goes into game 3. Deleted takes it. And they will be moving on to round 3 in the Reddit Dota 2 League playoff tournament as they take a barn burner against Ironwood Branches, pushing what has been the highlight team in this league to their limit in this series and in this final game. And it gets turned around on the back of the Phantom Lancer, proving that it doesn't even need to be the Caudal Cancer Lancer. And just the dives left for the hell of it. And we'll just wait on the Ancient to get finished off so we can get a look at that final score screen. And what'll happen there? Net worth, as we can see, maybe a little inflated because of all those towers going down, but
Top thing is about to get
look who's
knocked over.
way on top. Ancient goes down. It's the Radiance that goes down in favor of Deleted.
And now that's it. Everything is over.
And with that, we're going to be able to see the final scores and Phantom Lancer, the story of this game. Now, 4 of those kills were ultra kill fountain diving, but still 14 and 3. Being able to out-carry that Lifestealer in the end. The Ironwood Branches got an advantage. They had it all in the Lifestealer, weren't able to convert that into big team fight wins and towers. Deleted able to stay in it, and because of that, carry late, take a couple key team fight wins, and that's the difference. Deleted 2 games to 1, moving on.